On the 13th of August, took step in Berlin, Germany. Fresh to traveling, this was my first time I had ever been outside the United States. The stages of culture shock certainly hit me hard. As I sat in the baggage claim at the airport, I felt nothing. Sitting there quiet and still, I tried not to interact with anybody, scared of saying something wrong or being judged immediately for not knowing the tacit rule. I began treading lightly and doing my best to fit in, including standing as close as I can to the sidewalk while waiting for cars, not wearing flashy outfits, and avoiding ordering at restaurants or going to stores to not face the language barrier. On the fourth day in Berlin, I got an email from a prospective internship opportunity. They wondered if I could come in that day for an interview. Being the hottest day I experienced the whole summer, and the jet lag still aching in my bones, I reluctantly agreed and headed on my way. New to the street names and language, I got confused between two stops with the same name. Unsure of which one to take, I just went with the first stop and walked about 5 minutes in each direction before I realized I was on the wrong stop. Ashamed by my mistake, I refused to go back to the station and take the train again. Fed up with not knowing the train system and how to get around with the simplest directions, I began to run to my interview. Hearing that Germans are typically more time oriented and like timeliness, I booked it. I would only be 5 minutes late if I went by U-Bahn. Or why did I need to run? Why can't they just understand that I knew and I got lost? My frustration with these questions fueled my run. Breathing heavy, drenched in sweat, and my shirt a mess, I arrived 1 minute late. But when I got there, the man I was meeting, Rika, instantly showed concern for my state and offered me a water or a beer even though it was 4 p.m. He offers me a seat and directs me to the restroom if I needed to take a moment to collect myself. I said no and began the interview, huffing and puffing. As we chatted, Rika was a lot more relatable and relaxed than I worked him up to be. We chatted about life, laughed a bit before he showed me the space. My father has owned bars and nightclubs my whole life, so the tour of the space was very familiar and comforting. Feeling less sweaty and more relaxed, he ushered me downstairs on the tour. Once we got to the first room, I was thinking, what is this place? But still enjoyed the oddness of the massage chairs and large mirrors. We turned right to see the bathroom spaces, and I was immersed in a red light. Having a passion for light design, I instantly felt this strange light setup. Lights have the ability to communicate with specific emotion, regardless of language or culture. I've always loved the lights for that, often setting up lavender or orange hues around my house when we have guests over to invite them in and make them feel included. Seldom am I on the receiving end of those invites. From then on out, all the attention I was holding in my body left, and I felt comfortable being in the space. We had universal languages like DJ booths and unisex bathrooms, but I felt comfortable with the differences between. Landing the internship, I headed to the correct U-Bahn stop with the same feeling of confidence that I had when I entered a new space in the United States. Cautious of the fact that this is a different area and culture, but confident with my abilities to navigate new situations. Everyone at Kraft was so sweet and welcoming, mostly because they've all been through the same integration. Rika moved here from Brazil, G from the United States, and Nikki from the Netherlands. They run Kraft with one mission: integration. Kraft is a space for everyone to feel safe and accepted. This interview experience seems so small but has had a lasting impact. It was my introduction into the world of navigating the expectations between two people of different cultures as a guest. Thankfully, I haven't had to run to meet anybody's expectations since the interview. The men at Kraft have given me tips and tricks on how to feel comfortable so far from home. And man, it has brought some fun adventures. Home will always be home. There's no place like home. But that doesn't mean that you can't make a home anywhere you go. And the men at Kraft certainly taught me that.
Way over the